So in this segment, I want to cover other state laws. Now, you might think that Utah changed its numbers, as I mentioned, from 0.1 to 1.0. You would think that other states have done similar things. That is not true at all. So I want to just give you some background. Now, Colorado, for example, I guess let me begin with this. The western states generally have laws associated with meth and meth labs and decontamination for meth. Now, if you're talking about cocaine or LSD or weed or whatever, you can have the entire house piled high with any of the above, and there are no laws associated with decontamination. Yeah, does that make sense? No. But, okay, so we're just talking about meth in this particular case, and all these laws are specifically associated with meth. Colorado. They have decided to settle on a 0.5 value as their threshold for what is allowable versus not allowable. Utah, again, is 1.0. California and Hawaii and Nevada, based on my research, they're all, as of recently, they're all at 0.1. Now, 0.1 is an interesting number because it is the limit of what ALS or any other lab can detect. Anything less than 0.1 is not reported to be zero. It's reported to be ND, non-detect. So it doesn't mean that you have zero meth. It means you have less than the lab is able to decipher. You notice that those are western states: California, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, etc. And then as we move a little bit away, Texas and Oklahoma have no law requiring decontamination. They do require that there be disclosure. So let's say that there's a house and maybe it was a lab, and maybe the contamination level is 100 or whatever the number is. There is no requirement in Texas and Oklahoma to do any remediation. What is required is that the disclosure happen. And of course that has its own weaknesses. If it were remediated, they still got to disclose. So then you go back east, New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, there is no rule at all. You know, it could be contaminated to any level. There are no rules associated with meth remediation. So you see there is a great discrepancy, and generally also, as you notice, the laws and the legal requirements get more and more restrictive as you go west. Why is that? I don't know. The furthest west state, Hawaii, also has a 0.1 requirement. Northeastern and southern states, basically Mississippi to Wisconsin, you really don't have much going on there as far as laws are concerned. Does it make sense? No. But I'm not here to argue for or against that, just to provide you, the realtor, with some information. Now, another thing that I think is important. As I was finishing up a remediation with one of my clients, we had the county there, which is a requirement. You've got to meet with the CDS and the decontamination specialist, the county, and the client. And the client looks at the county guy and he says, "So this place is clean?" He looked back at him and he says, "We never say clean and we never say safe." And that's an important thing. There is a huge difference between clean and decontaminated. The decontaminator decontaminates, he does not clean. And so again, the buyer might think that a cleaning is happening. It is not. It may not look clean, but the point is decontaminate. Please avoid using the word clean when you're describing a decontamination process. You will get caught on it and it will just make you look bad. So we never say clean, we never say safe. The county doesn't know what's safe. They don't know if 0.1 is safe. They don't know if 1.0 is safe. I've seen that question addressed in a couple of ways. You know, the client wanted to know, so is this safe? And the county's response was basically, well, we regulate to state laws and that's what it is. And, you know, something I might add is that, as you noticed in the first section, the original laws were set not about health and safety. They were set to clean up meth labs. It wasn't about health and safety. And that is going to raise a lot of eyebrows. But, you know, again, when the county responds to that sort of a question, they will say, well, we don't know, so you should be careful. And to me, the same response could be applied to any number of things. Well, is eating crayons safe? Well, we don't know, so you should be careful. What about eating twigs? Well, we don't know, so you should be careful. So that's really not much of an answer, but there isn't a lot of science associated with health and safety effects associated with living in a home that was formerly the site of either a lab or use. I've seen homes where they were contaminated and you had large families live healthy and happy for a number of years. I've also seen homes where they are reported to have caused health problems. Most of those, it was because you actually had, in one case, the one I'm thinking of, they actually had the loser, in this case it was the guy's buddy, his mechanic, who lived in the basement, and he actually had a lab going in the basement while we had a family upstairs. And so, yeah, in that case there were health effects. But as far as the science associated with, you know, are there health effects later, there's not a lot of science there.